Now, my scepticism about wind energy started about 20 years ago when the late, great journalist Christopher Booker explained to me that the intermittency of wind was something that meant we should never become too reliant upon it. It might have some useful local applications, but for the national grid to rely on it too much would be a mistake, and I very much took that in. And when David Cameron became Prime Minister and introduced the Energy Act in 2013, it was clear that he wanted to build as many wind turbines onshore on our beautiful uplands as he possibly could. And I turned it into an electoral issue for UKIP. And that year, in the local English county elections, where UKIP got 25% of the vote, one of the key planks of our manifesto was that these things should not despoil England's green and pleasant land because they were too expensive. They didn't actually work enough at the time. It was very interesting. As we went into the 2015 general election, I found an astonishing level of hostility towards me from the other parties on this issue, as of course with many others. And then it began to sink home why I was in this tiny political minority. Well, try this for size. At the time, the Prime Minister, David Cameron's father-in-law, was being paid £1,000 a day just to have wind turbines sited on his land in North Lincolnshire. Ed Miliband was leader of the Labour Party, and his wife earned very good money as a lawyer, fighting for companies who were making applications to have onshore sites. And Nick Clegg, who was the Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the Lib Dems, well, his wife was non-executive director of the biggest wind turbine company in Spain. They were all in it. And it seemed, when I talked to wealthier friends of mine, oh, no, Nigel, these wind turbines are wonderful. And that's because they were all being paid lots and lots of money to have them on their land. Now, in the end, the political pressure against having wind farms on land meant we started building vast arrays offshore, which produced even more expensive electricity, slightly more reliability in terms of wind. But look, today is another very calm day. Looking at the forecast for the next couple of weeks ahead, we're not going to get any significant amounts of wind at all. I accept forecasts can change, but that's how it looks now. And as a result of all of this, far from, oh, isn't it wonderful, darlings, that yesterday 25% of our energy came from wind, which is what we hear from the industry when they have a good day, they're pretty quiet at the moment because over the course of the last month, research now indicates that only 2% of our electricity needs have come from onshore and offshore wind combined. Just 2%, despite the tens of billions, roughly 10 billion a year, of taxpayer money, subsidy that is pumped into the wind industry. And as a result of that, we're now ever more reliant on gas, the price of which, by the way, went up 16% just yesterday, and it's up about 250% so far this year. So we're in a real energy crisis, and we need to start thinking long term. We need to start thinking strategically. I am not against renewable sources of energy, but I put this premise to you tonight that this country has become way too dependent, far too reliant on wind energy. One of those things that all the politicians supported, doing so because they thought it was good to go green, doing so because they wanted to virtue signal. I tell you what, none of them ever told you. None of them ever told you that to produce each and every wind turbine, it takes 150 tonnes of coal. Yep, 150 tonnes of coal for each wind turbine. So before you even place these turbines way out at sea or on land, you've already expended a very large amount of carbon dioxide. But